Hey, everybody, welcome to our first holiday episode of Real Drinks with Ali Flores. That is me. I am your host, Ali Flores. And this is the show, if you're new to this podcast, where I bring in industry professionals in the film industry, film and television, actors, writers, producers, stunt people. And I actually have our first stunt guy here for this episode. And we are doing holiday movies. And this guy and I go way back. We met back in the days where I was at Disney, and we kind of came up doing stand-up comedy a long time ago. He's done stunts in The Blacklist, Joker, the movie. One of my favorite credits that he has is he was in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh,
He was a
yeah.
stunt guy in that. So that was my favorite. He's done so many different things, but I am so pleased to have you here, man. Welcome, Mr. Frank Alfano Jr. What up, brother?
Appreciate the invite, man. It's great to see you. Great to see you.
Oh, good to see you too, brother. I'm digging the beard, man. It's coming in full.
Yeah, I actually just had to trim it last night because it grows out more than it does down. So I have to shape it so I don't look as crazy as I just go do stuff.
So less mountain man-y?
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, it's great for my job because they'll hire me with a beard and then kill me, and then I'll shave, and now I'm a new person, and then they'll kill me the next day. So
nice. You get to die twice in a project.
Recast.
Nice. Yeah. So you are a stunt guy. You're also a little bit of everything, but primarily now you're doing all stunts and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Since I've been full-time stunt since 2013.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. And you're up in New York.
Up in New York. Yep.
Sweet. Anything going on now? I know because of COVID, productions have been slowly coming back.
So we'll see what the next few weeks give us, but productions went from nothing to shooting through the roof.
Nice.
We had a whole bunch of productions just start at once because the one thing that everybody realized is with the pandemic and the shutdown being so long, people are out of Netflix. They're out of shows.
Right.
So producers are just eager to get new content out to everybody. So,
that's awesome.
But the process now of working on set is totally different. You have to not only have to be available the day you work, you have to be available some shows 2 days beforehand, some shows the day beforehand to get tested. And then you get tested when you're there, and then you get temperature checks periodically throughout the day. You have to wear masks until basically cameras rolling, and then they have paper bags they put it in. So, but a lot of stuff's going on. It's been wonderful to be back to work, but
nice,
a lot of protocols to navigate through.
And you said you were shooting something this week, I believe?
Yeah, I did. Or last week, I did a new TV show called Gilded Age, and then right before that, I did an episode of Law and Order.
Nice, man.
SVU. And then a Jim Gaffigan movie. I worked some special effects with a couple weeks before that, and
awesome,
then
brother.
Yeah, last weekend I taught a whole bunch of people how to be on fire.
Yeah, and that's pretty much your specialty, right? You're a fire guy.
Yes. Yeah.
How did that happen?
I couldn't do a backflip. Everybody in Orlando was a martial artist or a gymnast, and I'm like, well, I can't do a backflip. So I started making a fire gel that I could wear on my skin and then light it on fire without burning myself, with keeping the heat off of me for a certain amount of time. And through, developing that and just training, that became kind of the thing I'm known for. So, I mean, I've done across the board, all kinds of stuff, hit by cars, thrown off buildings. I've been killed by 2 Academy Award winning actors, which I'm really proud of.
Nice.
But yeah, it always goes back to fire. People trust me to light them on fire.
Yeah, man. And how did you start developing your own cream or whatever the hell you're doing?
The gel?
Yeah, the gel. How did that? Are you a chemistry nut or?
I was not before I started the journey. I had one person tell me a chemical compound that he saw somebody use in a for that he worked for, and they used to use in live shows. And so what I did is I just kind of looked at, well, what are the qualities about this chemical that basically all gels are, all water-based gels are just taking a water molecule and making it thicker, just swelling it. And then I started looking and having to break down what is the actual like chemical components of each different thing, and making sure that, okay, it's got to be a thickener and a polymer, but it has to be viscous, but it has to be it's got to be safe. So that was a part of the process too, is making sure that it's hyperallergenic, it's non-toxic, and then just I've been doing that for 12 years now, 12, 13 years. So just trial and error.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
How long does that last? How long does that burn last before it starts to get hot?
It depends. More often than not, I mean, 30 seconds. But I've done burns for over a minute, because it has to do with, I mean, there's so many variables. It has to do with the thickness of the gel that you put on. It has to do with the amount of fuel or the type of fuel you put on top of it. It also has to do with, is there a door open in wherever you're shooting? Because that will literally change the draft in the room and change what the flame does. Wow. So I usually tell people when they want to know how long I can give them, I tell them 20 seconds. But yeah, I did a face burn for a movie called Skin, where I doubled Jamie Bell, and my face was on fire for over a minute.
Was that your picture on here?
Oh no, that was me testing the gel before I was on set.
Here, do that, because I want to show everybody what that looks like, because that was a cool picture. So just turn your camera off, and it should come on. Yeah, there it is.
Yep. Yeah. So that's my face on fire.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
It's a wonderful Tinder profile.
Oh my God, this guy I went out with last night, he is straight fire, guys.
Yeah. No, it's the quickest way to get people to swipe left. I've been told it's too intense for a first date. I'm like,
holy cow. All right, so you're a stunt guy. You do stunts. You set people on fire. So I thought naturally this is the perfect movie to talk about to start off our holiday episodes. What movie are we talking about, my friend?
We are talking about Home Alone, the original Home Alone.
Yes, the 1990 hit, directed by Christopher Columbus, Home Alone.
Yes.
Holy cow, 1990, the year I was born. Nice. But yeah, man, I love this movie, man. This is one of those, this is a classic.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to do, Frank. This is how we make money every year, is we have to make a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
We have to make a good Christmas movie. I think there was an interview with Artie Lang, who's a comedian who plays Santa Claus that gets in a fight with Elf in Elf.
Right.
And he says he still gets, I mean, every year with his residuals, he's getting like 30 grand on just that. He was a day player.
Yeah.
And just that scene, he's getting like 30 grand every year on that. So
I know they were talking about the same thing with like A Christmas Story, because I mean, A Christmas Story, I think TNT still does the 24 hours.
Yeah.
Where they just play A Christmas Story for 24 hours straight. And I mean, those residuals roll in.
Oh, hell yeah. For those of you that aren't in the business, residuals are things, if you're working on a SAG, a union project, depending on how many times it's aired, where it's aired, the time, all that stuff, they have a nice algorithm. You get paid, you get checks on top of your paycheck that you did for shooting the film. So yeah,
every time they, anytime they replay it on television, anytime it goes on to Netflix or any new platform, anytime you guys, well, not a DVD anymore, but buy a Blu-ray or rent it, we get a piece of that, and it collects. My residuals this last year from the Joker movie have
been nice.
have not made me sweat during COVID.
There you go, man.
Yeah, they've really come in handy.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah, brother. That's awesome. I still get a residual check from my national television debut. I did a ABC Family movie, and that was back in 2011. And I'm still
Mm,
getting residuals on that thing. And that was just, it was on ABC Family, so it wasn't
right.
a theatrical release. It wasn't a big thing, but I'm still getting checks of upwards of 500 to 700 pennies. So
Yeah. Yeah. Have you gotten the zero one yet?
not yet. I've gotten
Yeah.
close. I think my lowest was like 7 cents. This, holy cow.
I just recently, because I do direct deposit now through the union,
Hmm.
so I just recently started getting residuals where like it's 87 cents gross, but then the net is zero. I was like, you took all 86 cents like you just needed. Oh,
Holy cow,
yeah,
dude.
I'll collect it forever though.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. So Home Alone is
Come
the
along.
movie that we are talking about right now. What a great film.
Mhm.
It stands the test of time. That's I guess that is the main thing for a good holiday movie is that it needs to be aired every year and not get old or outdated or anything
Right.
like that. And
Which
this
means that
movie,
the theme is so universal that it doesn't get old.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
sure, their technology and all the stuff is different, that they're using. Like they have these things called landline in Home Alone, which
Right.
whoa, it's that stuff, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but the whole story, and the acting, the writing, directing, all that is universal, and we can all relate to it, and it stays.
There's actually a great documentary. There's a series I watched last year, and then I watched it again for this when we said what we were talking about. Called "The Movies That Made Us." If you
Yep,
haven't seen it on Netflix, it's fantastic.
great.
And what I didn't know is that the original screenplay, I guess, was written by John Candy.
Oh no way!
Yeah,
I didn't
and
know that.
then yeah, and then he had picked the writer and director for it. It's like, here, you guys, do it.
You
It's a
do it.
great script. Yeah,
Yeah, and John Canby has a great role in this as well. But we'll get
which
to that later.
yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
We'll get to that. So, all right, give us a quick rundown for those four people that have never seen this. Give me a quick synopsis. Not scene by scene, not shot by shot, but
Right.
give me a synopsis. Sell this to me as if I look at you and go, I'm never going to be able to watch this movie, but I want to be able to experience the movie very quickly. Go.
Absolutely. So this is about a large family who goes on vacation and during the Christmas season and holidays, and they accidentally leave their young son who is 10, I think nine or 10, accidentally leave him behind. Um, during which time because the night before they leave, he makes a wish that he wishes his family would go away, and the next morning he wakes up and he has the house to himself. So during this time, he's stuck home alone. um, his family is already on vacation before they realize that they left him, and so the mother has to try to find her way back. Meanwhile, there are two criminals who are breaking into houses of people that they know aren't going to be home. And when Macaulay Culkin finds out that these robbers are going to rob his house, he decides to use the most cruel and creative and funny and kid-like traps to thwart them off from robbing a house. And during this entire process, he learns what Christmas is really about.
Aw.
Yeah, right.
Bling.
So, did I miss anything?
Well, we don't care about spoilers. So, obviously the family comes back because there's
Yeah,
Home Alone 24. I think they've made a bunch.
yeah,
But yeah, the family comes back. The bad guys go to jail. Um, it's all a happy ending.
yeah,
What a nice movie. And before we get into the all the nooks and crannies of this film, we have to talk about the second half of this, the title, which is Real Drinks. We need to talk about the drinks. Now, Frank, you found an interesting drink.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it seemed like the least complicated out of all the ones that I found. It's called the Home Alone. It's a gin-based drink.
mhm.
Um, so it's gin, simple syrup, a little bit of lemon juice, and then cucumber. So you mutter the cucumber up.
Mhm.
You add all the ingredients. You strain it out. You have a couple cucumber strands as your garnish, and then you
And
top it off with some ginger beer.
yep. So I've made mine. So let's try. I haven't tried it yet, so let's give it a
Me
shot.
neither. And I'm not a gin guy, so this is gonna be interesting.
Neither
So
am I. So
cheers. It's refreshing.
yeah, it actually is refreshing.
It's
Like
very refreshing.
I could taste the cucumber a lot.
Yeah. I mean, really, it just tastes like cucumber water that we will get drunk off of.
Yes. Yes. And what's Frank, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to be a little toasty tonight because I'm recording another one after yours,
Nice.
which I will be trying eggnog for the very first time. I've never had eggnog.
Yeah, not a fan. I go to a stunt Christmas party every year. Unfortunately, it won't happen this year.
Yeah.
And the stunt coordinator throws it is such a dear friend of mine and is so wonderful. And he has this Puerto Rican eggnog that he's so proud
Coquito?
of. Yes,
Yeah.
I
Coquito. Yeah.
he says
It's
it to
good.
me every year. He hands me a cup every year. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. He makes me drink this thing, and every year I'm like, I still don't like eggnog, but you
Yeah.
can't insult the host. So
I love Dave Attell's bit on eggnog. Dave Attell does a bit. He goes, "You know what eggnog is? I'm going to tell you. You're not going to want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you. Elf cum. That's what it is. You might as well just pour it on your back and smack yourself on the ass."
you know you know an interesting thing about David Tell?
What's that?
I trained Kali with him randomly in New York.
Shut up.
Yeah, he trains Pakiti Tersha Kali at my old dojo. I'd been away for like 4 or 5 months working, and then when I came back, David Tell is just like crushing it. He is so good. And like, I mean, when you meet somebody, you think
Wow.
they're making their a TV personality. No, he's an old dude with a stick who knows how to like beat somebody's ass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him a couple times live. When I was shooting, I believe I was shooting a Netflix movie in South Carolina, and
Hmm.
I had the night off, and I went to a comedy club, and Dave Attell was performing that night. I was like, I'm going to go see Dave Attell. Hung out with him afterwards. He's like, all right, we're hitting this bar over here. So went over there, and we're just hanging out. He wasn't drinking, because I don't know if he's completely sober or if it's
Yeah, I
like
don't
he's
know.
cut completely like way down. But so we just sat there and talked a little bit, talked shop, talked a little comedy, some little stand up with him. He's a brilliant writer.
He really is. Well, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting because when you meet him, he's one of those very few guys who's very straightforward, but also very kind.
Yeah.
And it was great,
Yeah.
hanging out with him the handful of times that I did,
That's awesome. All right.
originally he had
We're
a
getting off topic.
yes, we are. Sorry.
Get
David
back
Tell.
to Kevin McAllister and his adventure. So
Yes.
we start the movie and it's hectic. I mean, it's hectic in that whole. You've got this whole like big family reunion.
Yeah.
So
I
many
think
different families coming together.
I think there's 13 kids total.
Ish. It's up
Yeah,
there.
13 because I remember she goes around counting and then I should have asked this before we started recording. Do you cuss on this podcast?
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember her counting and then the Buzz is being a total dick,
Mhm.
miscounting. And I think there's 13 kids.
Yeah. There's a bunch. I know that there are a bunch. I want to say it's either 13 or 11. Trying to think here.
I do remember that his uncle, I remember nobody likes Kevin. Nobody likes Kevin. They like everybody is kind of mean to him. That's why he hates everybody in the house.
Yep.
And of course, he's, as an individual, as a kid, everybody's wrong except for me. And yeah, so it's just absolute chaos, which I mean, I think I grew up loving this movie because I'm one of six. So
Wow.
that was always my house growing up. It's
Yeah.
that
It's 11 kids.
really
11 kids. 5 boys, 6 girls,
got it.
4 parents, 2 drivers, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's insanity in that household. And you're right, everyone's picking on him. And now, to be fair, he's a little shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like he didn't deserve being picked on, but
Mm-mm.
everybody's picking on him.
Yeah.
And the type of picking on is not anything that I would say is unique to siblings picking on siblings,
No, I mean,
right?
we've
Like,
all, if you grew up with a family, that's what happens. It's
yep,
just what
every
happens.
time. So,
So
yeah,
they're getting ready. Everything's getting hectic. You've got the Uncle Frank, who's a pain in the ass. He's a bit of a douche. Um,
and a freeloader.
yes, yes.
I didn't realize that until I was older in life. That they say several times that his Kevin's dad is picking up the check for the whole thing.
Hmm.
So everything he says about what he wants for his vacation, he's not even paying for.
Yeah. And like they get all this pizza, and like he gets to the
Yeah,
door for the, and he's like, oh, it's somebody else doesn't have, will have it.
yeah,
Um, but that's when we get introduced to a cop who comes in and just wants to make sure that the family's set up for their vacation. We're going
yeah.
around making sure that you have your alarms ready, and
He does that smile.
mhm,
He's got that
ding,
golden tooth.
that little
Bing.
gold
Yeah.
tooth. There's Joe Pesci. And Joe Pesci is one of my favorite actors.
Mm.
He is so versatile. He does, he goes from doing Casino and, Goodfellas, and then you see him in Home Alone. You see him
Yeah.
in Lethal Weapon as
Yeah.
Leo Getz. It's like all of these kind of
Gone fishing.
gone, yeah, crazy
Yeah.
character stuff. But he's,
Total 180 from what he's
yeah,
used to.
such a complete badass as a
Yes.
gangster, and then kind of goofy, and yeah, he's great. Love
So
him.
apparently one of the stipulants that he had for doing this movie was he had a problem with his dialogue. And he
Mhm.
goes, no, I just feel like this guy would cuss. And so one of his stipulants is that he had to create a language in order to cuss. So
Yes.
that's that frickin' ricked chicken,
Yeah.
right?
And that's what kept him from cussing and saying fuck, because
Right.
fuck is like every second word out of his damn mouth. You know,
They they talk about in the documentary the fact that he says he can't read a script without inserting fuck every 2 or 3 words. So if it's like, good morning, sir, it's, well, how's your fucking morning, you fuck face? Like, that's how he can read a script.
that's just his inner dialogue. His fuck is in
Right.
there. Um, so morning comes, they've overslept, and now it's just pandemonium in the house. Everybody's running around, and I love the 80s esque fast forward.
Fast forward. I was just about to mention that. I was like, we know it's a panic because they fast forward everybody. It actually looks like that. It looks
Yeah.
like this, fast shutter speed, just kind of.
And everyone, I love this. Is like, how do you forget your kid? How do you forget? Well, because it's hectic. And then you had that kid that came across the street
That was counted in.
and was being nosy in the van, looking at, well, what you got here? What do you have here? And they counted that person.
Which was a perfect, he was the same size, he was the same age.
Mm-hmm.
There was no reason for like parents, especially with 11 kids,
Yeah.
to go. I mean, my mother stopped naming us like after a while. She would literally not call out her name. She would call out the color shirt because she'd go through the roster. Nick, it blue, get over here, because she can't. So yeah, that made total sense to me. Especially like the parents are dealing with all the other things. So you put the oldest in charge of making sure everybody's there.
Yeah.
That's how you can forget a kid, is you put one of the other kids in charge of the kids.
And they actually did a good job. You didn't know. I mean, they did the count. They did the count.
And they only forgot one.
That's it.
That's a passing grade in most schools.
In most schools, especially in Florida. So they're also late. So they're rushing to the airport, running through the airport.
Right.
And they're in the plane going, I feel like we forgot something. Honey, we always forget something. It's just, and I think it's the dad that goes.
No, it's the mother, because it's a very the mother. Who's the mother? I gotta look. Top of my tongue.
Catherine
O'Hara.
Yeah.
It's
so
it's the mother, because it's that famous thing of she just shoots forward and yells, "Kevin!"
Oh yeah, but I'm saying about the garage door. I left the garage door open.
I think that's the dad.
Yeah, and he's like, "That's
Yeah.
it. That's what it is. I forgot the garage door. I forgot to
Yeah.
close the garage door." And then it's,
Yeah.
"No, I don't know. That doesn't seem like that's it." And then it's the Kevin. Um,
Kevin.
and that's when we cut to we're back. Kevin's waking up, going, guys, Uncle Frank.
And the last thing he said to his mother was, my Christmas, I think it's like, my Christmas wish is that you and everybody would just be gone.
Yes, that's
And the
right.
mother goes like, I hope you don't mean that, because one day you're going to wake up and we will be. And so he wakes up the next morning and he
And
thinks his wishes come true.
they're gone. And he does what any kid would do. He eats all of the candy, ice
Everything he wasn't
cream.
allowed to do, he
Oh,
did. He messes
all of
around
it.
in his brother's room. he like I remember, doesn't he find like a porn magazine?
I think so. I think he
I
finds and
think
he
he finds
goes,
a porn
man,
magazine and he's just grossed out by
man,
it. Yeah.
man. He's looking out through all the
Yeah.
stuff. He finds the fireworks. He.
Yes. The BB gun,
Uh-huh.
which comes into play later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Eats all the junk food. Just has the time of his life as a kid, allowed to be alone,
Mm-hmm.
by himself, and think that there's no one that's going to come back.
Yeah.
At this point in the story, he doesn't think that there are going to be consequences for this later. It's just, they're gone. I get to be me.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it.
Yeah.
And so once the newness of the no parents kind of wears off, he starts realizing I kind of need shit.
Yeah.
Kind of got to go do stuff. Um, and then he sees there's that they're plumbers, right? In the van, it's plumbers.
I think so, because I know that they call themselves the Wet Bandits.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the plumbing. It's just because he
No,
keeps.
that's because but I think that was one of the, like, it's a plumbing van,
Mhm.
but they always leave the faucets on when they rob a house, because why not be a dick if you're going to be a
Yeah.
dick?
And then he almost gets hit. The van comes out. You see that famous
Yeah.
great scene of the van stopping right there. And it's Joe Pesci.
Ding.
I think he said, have a nice day or something like that. And then he
Yeah.
smiles and he sees that. And that's when he recognizes it. He goes, wait a second. Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, and that's when the two robbers think that maybe the family didn't go on vacation. Because,
Yes.
right, this is the biggest house in the neighborhood, which, if you watch this movie nowadays, you're going to really question what Kevin's dad does for a living, that he can afford this house. It's a mansion. It's an absolute
huge.
mansion in the suburbs of Chicago. Like, it's.
Yeah. Now, it is 1990, so prices are a lot lower then, but still.
Well, yeah, correct. If he bought it in the 90s, then he probably never paid for it anyway.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So now he starts setting up his, I guess, plot. Oh, not yet, because he's by himself. He's trying to figure out what to do.
Right. Well, at first he tries to convince he tries to convince the robbers, as they're casing the joint, that there are other people home.
Yes.
So that's when we have the and the great thing about this movie is that every way that he does this is so clever. I remember he sets up the party scene. So it's silhouettes from the inside, where he put like one silhouette. I think it's Michael Jordan, like a poster on the train, and it's like going by the window, so it looks like it's dancing in the Christmas lights and blasting music and stuff. Another time they're casing the joint and he plays a movie really loud, which I used to know the name of that movie. Dirty Rats? No, that's the line in it.
Dirty Angels, I believe it's
Dirty Angels. Yeah. Dirty
something.
Angels.
Yeah. It's I want to know the exact name of it. Dirty Angels with Filthy Souls. That's what it is.
That's a movie that needs to be made.
Yeah. So it's kick-ass. I think it's an actual movie, if I'm not mistaken. I thought it was a real movie.
Oh, I thought it was specifically made just for this movie.
Oh, I thought it was a real movie.
I think we need
to it is not a real film.
Okay. Yeah.
Ah, ah,
So yeah, they
that was
case
a
it a
great.
couple times,
Hmm.
and he convinces them. I think the first like one or two times,
Yeah,
and then they start
because
realizing
the
it
first
is
time he
just a kid.
realizes that they're robbers is when they're trying to actually break in,
Right.
and that's when he runs around and he starts throwing on the lights, and that's when they're like, "Oh shit!" So now he knows people are trying to break in.
Yeah.
And I believe before he starts doing all that, he has to order his pizza.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's when we have the first time we keep the change. You know that
Oh yeah, because he uses the movie
he uses
in
the
order to
movie,
get the pizza.
yeah,
Yes.
to not give away that he's there by himself.
Right.
So um, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So once the robbers realize that the family's gone and it's just the kid, it's game on. They're like, it's a kid.
Well, it's game on for the robbers, but there's a
Yeah.
subplot that gets Kevin into the idea of defending his home, and into the idea that he's missing his family, which is his neighbor. So his neighbor in the beginning of the movie, his brother convinces him that his neighbor is actually a murderer,
Yep.
and he's putting salt on the snow because that's the dissolved bodies of those that he's killed. And then he finds out, like by meeting the neighbor a couple times, he finds out that the neighbor, of course, didn't kill anybody,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in church watching his granddaughter sing,
Mm-hmm.
and then he finds out that like, well, I got into a fight with my son and I can't see my family anymore. And that's when Kevin starts to realize, well, whatever you said, you can be unsaid. Family's all that matters. And that's when Kevin realizes that the last thing he said to his family was
Mm-hmm.
wishing them gone, and he would give anything to have them back.
Right.
And the one thing he will not do is let somebody else take his castle, because
Right.
that's all he has left of his family now.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
we've got the robbers, the wet bandits are ready to go.
Yes.
Unfortunately, so is
So is
Mr.
Kevin.
Kevin McAllister.
In a
Uh,
classic 1990s montage.
yes, montage. You got to have montages, man.
Montage. You
It's
need a
brilliant.
montage.
Montage. He sets everything up and going, and then it's ready.
Yeah.
Go time. They
We
come.
see the blueprints, right? We see the blueprints that he did in crayon of each room and what the traps would be. And as you look at it, I mean, it looks like a blueprint of just mousetrap.
Yeah.
And then we see him set up. And I mean, this is what always makes a great movie structure, right? We'll put the holiday part aside,
Mm-hmm.
but a great movie structure is if in act one, you set up a bunch of things that you can use in act three. And then at the beginning of act three, you set up a bunch of things that are revealed later of what it is. And that's what we see. We see him practice with the BB gun in act one.
Yeah.
And then in the beginning of that, like at the end of act two, beginning of act three, that's when we like see him set up all of these traps that we have no idea what they are. And as each one is revealed, we're just more and more excited because you don't think
Yes.
it's going to get any better.
Um,
And then so much happens to these
so
guys.
many, and as far as like stunt wise, that's a lot going on in this
Yes.
thing. Talk
Well,
about that. Like go through these like bits that are happening and things that like how does that
so Home Alone is actually a wonderful case study of real, real down to earth classic stunt work. There's no CGI.
Mhm.
There's no wires. There was no budget for the movie, right? The movie was actually so low budget that when they started going over budget, the first studio canceled them, and then another studio literally took them from there. It was made for $14 million. And up until then, most movies were looking at anywhere between 50 to 100 million budget.
Wow.
So the stunt team was only a handful of people. And the two main stunt doubles, Troy Brown was Troy Brown was Pesci's stunt double, and then Leon Deloney was Daniel Stern's stunt double.
Nice.
And the first stunt that is done is Kevin McAllister has thrown water onto the front steps. So now they're completely iced, but the robbers can't see it.
Right.
And so Joe Pesci goes to just walk up, and then he slips and he flies backwards and he lands just straight onto his back.
Boom.
And Troy Brown in the documentary, he actually says, he goes, "Oh yeah, they didn't tell me what they wanted. They just said he falls. So I just stood on the step and launched myself as high up and far back as I could go and hit the ground. And that was it, right? It is, you know, I'm sure he was wearing like a gator back, which is a gator back for some people is a back protector, right? It's kind of it's like a knee pad just for your spine.
Yeah.
So it protects you from injury. It does not protect you from impact. It still sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
And he might not have even been wearing that because sometimes we don't even get that. But he just literally launched himself straight up and then crashed down. That's it. And then everybody stopped and freaked out. And it was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay?" And he just stopped and he's like, yeah. Why? Is everything all right? Like, just
Is that good?
because he's a stunt guy.
Yeah.
We are not allowed to, like, if we're injured, we're injured. But like, if you're hurt, you're not hurt. Hurt is not a thing. You get to be hurt when you go home and you pour your delicious Home Alone drink.
Home Alone drink, which isn't that bad. It's actually growing on me
It's
more and more.
really like, it's way more subtle than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I'm not a gin person, so it's all the other flavors that are kicking in
Yeah.
that actually makes it not bad. Like it's
But
like,
with the lemon juice, yeah,
Mhm.
it's really good.
And I used a lime. I used a gin with a hint of lime in it
Oh, okay,
in the
nice.
gym because I used a drink. I had to make another drink before. Yeah. By the way, because of this podcast, my bar is growing.
Oh, good.
Um, I have grenadine now. I have simple syrup now. I have, let's see, what am I looking at now? Vermouth. I've got Tito's. I got honey vodka or honey Jack Daniel's honey in there. I've got some kind of weird wine that goes with some sort kind of martini.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, because we did 007, which should be coming out now. By the time you see this, it should have
Awesome.
been out. So we did. I'm growing. I'm growing with my. I've got rums. I've got.
I've got a bunch of whiskeys and bourbons, and then a handle of tequila in the freezer.
Boom.
And now I've got the gin and that stuff
Yeah.
added on.
So
And
yeah, I
most
have.
of that is just when people come over to drink, they leave stuff. So
Yeah, I've got tequila at my girlfriend's house right now. I took it over there to make some drinks, and I went, "Damn it, that hooker's got my tequila. Need mine back." So we get the stunts going. So we've got the ice. Boom.
We got the ice flat back. The next fall he takes, it's the exact same thing, but now he lands onto the steps.
Mhm.
So he lands on the steps and rolls back over on himself. Then we have going around the back of the house. We have the exact same thing, except for the stairs going up to the house. It's going down to the basement. So the guy slips and crashes down the stairs, and every hit of it. So this movie is directed by Chris Columbus, who was also the director of the first 2 or 3 Harry Potter movies. I think the first 2.
I think
so. And he couldn't watch when the stunt guys did their thing. He literally would look away from the screen and he'd just be like, "Are they good? Okay." And then that would be it, because it can't. Because if you don't know what we're doing, it looks like they die every time, because that's all they were told is just fall. So it's what you would think a pratfall is if you saw the cartoon, but in real life.
Yeah.
That's the brilliance of it, is that because it absolutely crushes and hurts, but it's cartoon to everybody else, unless you see it in person, and then you can like feel the impact on the guy. Oh man, I've done what's great about this particular fall. They do it again inside the house. There's one point where Kevin puts down the micro machines, which is, for those of you who are under 30, they were Hot Wheel cars, but they were tiny, right? So they were like Legos on wheels. Ooh. And he laid a bunch of them out in the foyer area right before the stairs, and you see both guys hit them straight up and then crash down. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, and that's a great shot. Now, with something like that, like the timing, everything has to be good. How many takes do you think that stunt took?
In my experience, it's not I've done that specific thing like 20 to 30 times,
Wow.
right? Because especially the lower the budget, the in my experience, the lower the budget, the more they were like, no, just keep going. Let's make sure we got it.
Right.
So yeah, it could have been. I doubt it was one or two. I'm sure it was at least at least 10,
Yeah.
probably.
Wow.
But what was great about this movie is that the cinematographer that set up all the cameras, he actually had a camera he called a chicken shit camera, which was the
Okay.
smallest camera he could get, and they would hide it somewhere just to get a wide angle to make sure that
Nice.
they always had the shot to do it as few times as possible, to save the guys as much as they could. But what they found out is that the chicken shit camera gave them the best shot 90% of the time anyway. So
Nice.
they started like using that. That's the camera that they send. At one point, they send it down a vent to be the camera shot of the iron
Hmm.
going straight down to hit Danny in his face.
Yeah. Just a little tidbit for those of you listening that aren't in the business. A lot of times you sit there and go, man, that's a beautifully shot movie. That director's great. That's your DP.
Hmm.
There's your director of photography coming up with these shots because your director's going to sit there and go, here's what I'm imagining.
Right.
And your director of photography, your DP, is going, here's how I can make that happen. And then inventing some cool stuff like the chicken shit camera, like
Right.
stuff like that, just figuring out ways to come up with to create your vision,
Yeah.
whatever you're thinking, however outlandish it can be. Your DP is the one going, what if we did this? We're going to push slowly from up. We're going to bring that camera angle up top. We'll bring it around. We're going to use the jib to come up here. We're going to, it's all that. That's your DP. And
Yeah.
they're brilliant at what they do. The good ones are phenomenal.
They're artists.
Yeah.
They're absolute artists. A director can say this is the type of art and picture that I want.
Hmm.
He can give the blocking to give the feel for the actors and all that
Yes.
stuff, and then the DP is the one that gives the blocking for the camera more often than not.
Yeah.
To say, well, this is how we can translate that feeling that the actors are giving and their movements giving. This is how the camera can give that same feeling and movement. Yeah, just having, they say 95% of directing is just casting. Right?
Yeah.
In film, that also goes to casting is who's your DP,
Hmm.
who can really set up a shot to make it what you need it to be.
And speaking of casting, I think this is another example of some brilliant casting, especially for, you know, Harry and oh God, what's the other guy's name? Harry and
Uh,
um
oh God, I should know this.
I keep saying just, I always go with just Joe Pesci and stuff, but it's
Marv.
Harry and Marv. Yeah. Harry and
Harry
Marv.
Marv.
The height difference is perfect. It's comedic. You've got the two guys like this. Like I shot a film, which I shot this film and I was auditioning for a completely different role. And there was a mob, uh, I guess, presence in the film. So I made the director and the producer laugh a lot in my audition. And they were like, is there another role you want to audition for? And I said, yes. I said, I read your script. I said, but I know that you guys have sight gags. Your two mob guys, the two henchmen, are supposed to be massive. I said, what if one of them is massive and then the other one, we have like a twins type of thing? I
Right.
said, you have your status. And they go, give that a shot, give it a read. And I read for it. And that's what I booked was that.
Yes.
And my
Right.
buddy Owen Harn, who you can see on Vice Principals. He's a big guy. He's a great actor, but he's massive and I'm down here. And
Right.
so it was cool. So that kind of status is great. Um, Macaulay Culkin, you can't. Holy
So,
cow!
I mean, this movie was written for him. Like John Candy wrote this movie for Macaulay Culkin after having worked with him on Uncle Buck.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think was Macaulay's first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was just like, this kid is absolutely great.
Yeah.
And this is a movie that, launched him into superstardom.
Yeah. He became
The
huge,
largest child actor
huge.
maybe ever.
I mean, he
I mean,
became. I mean, he became Shirley Temple
sure,
essentially.
yeah. I was like, since Shirley Temple,
Yeah.
right? And Mickey
It's
Rourke.
like whoa,
Yeah.
man. And
Mickey
sure
Rourke?
enough, man, he
No,
was
Mickey
Mickey
Rooney.
Rooney,
Yeah.
different
Mickey
Mickey,
Rourke
Mickey
had a
Mouse.
different childhood.
Uh, um, so all the stunts go through. You've got the one like I love watching the movie, and this is my favorite phrase when I watch this movie. Dead. They'd be dead. Dead.
Yeah.
The paint can, dead. They're dead.
There's a whole episode that he did on YouTube of showing what the trauma would be on each one of these things. Dead. But
Dead.
so in our industry, those falls, they're known as Home Alone falls now. So
Wow.
like there will be times where like I did one of those on a movie, hopefully that will come out soon. It got post-production got postponed because of COVID, but
Right.
a movie where, I mean, it's kind of like a John Wick scenario kind of a thing, and a bunch of us getting shot. I take a shotgun to the chest, and I was like, all right, well, it's time for my Home Alone fall. All right, a Home Alone fall is it's different from a flatback. A flatback is just jump in the air, land flat. It's kind of more of a judo fall where like you catch yourself with your arms a little bit, you dissipate the energy. A Home Alone fall isn't that.
Yeah.
It's feet are in the air, hands are in the air. So all that takes
Oh, this just straight
just your
back.
whole back
Oh,
hits it. Yeah. And
oh
I
God.
had to do that a whole bunch. But that's what I thrive for, is to do. I'm hoping that it makes makes the edit and cut, because when I see those falls, when I see them flying off of the stairs because the paint cans, for those of you who haven't seen it, they go up the stairs. Kevin throws paint cans on a rope. Bah! Just
Boom.
square in the face. And you see them fly backwards. Those are the stunts that are just, because not only are they funny, they catch you off guard, they hurt, which makes them funnier. Like they hurt you to watch, but you have to keep watching it. Those are the things that I've always inspired to do. And being able to see two guys who created the example for everyone else
Yeah.
is just amazing.
Yeah.
That's
And their work is so good in this film.
yeah,
Like so good. And you're right. When you said something earlier, you were like, it's taking those cartoon pratfalls and making them real.
right.
And it's exactly what they did.
And it's the timing of them. It's
Mhm.
one of the big things is the over dramatizing of it. So the slips are so big
Mhm.
but that's what makes them cartoonish, is
Yeah.
that they're over the top. They still suck and they hurt to watch, and this is where I'm at with like watching old school movies versus new school movies. New school movies can be exciting, but the moment for me CGI is in it, it's not real anymore. It's watching a
Right.
cartoon. So it
Right.
still might be entertaining, but that danger isn't real.
Right.
And knowing that that's a real guy
Mhm.
without wires who hit concrete
Mhm.
hurts,
Oh my
and
God.
it's so funny.
There's a great quote by Billy Crystal, who said, and this goes to what you're saying right now, who says, um, if you want to make someone laugh, an old lady has to slip on ice and everyone laughs. If you want to make a comedian laugh, she has to die. It's just like, oh my God.
I just worked with him last year.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I was hired to be a stunt double because apparently everybody thought he was 5'9", and he walked into the trailer. It's 6 a.m. He hasn't had coffee.
Hmm.
He walked into the trailer. He goes, "You my stunt guy?" I was like, "Yes, sir. It's great to meet you." And he just goes, "You're too big." You're too big. You can't do it. And I just go, okay. And I just shrank down a little, and he goes, it's not a joke. You can't do it. And then he leaves, and I was fired just like that.
Wow.
It's gone. I mean, I wasn't. They just changed what I was doing for the day.
Right.
But yeah, that was it. But what's great about watching Billy Crystal work is before a week later, we did a big wedding scene and stuff. And before each take, because everybody's supposed to be Joyce and stuff, as they were starting to roll the cameras, he would just start cracking jokes and entertaining everybody, because then it would put everybody in that mood for the cameras to roll. And it was so great to watch.
That's awesome.
Just brilliant guy. Really
That's
brilliant.
Awesome. That's awesome.
So back to the movie.
Yeah, let's get back to the movie. I'm loving this stuff.
This is why you don't get a stunt guy on. We got all kinds of like side branches of stories to tell.
It's brilliant. I love it, man. I'm fucking loving it. So we're going through all of the pratfalls, and there were 2 nights of falls, because they leave after getting a few hits, and they're gone. And then that's when we have, during this whole time, he's starting to grow up. He's starting to miss his family.
Yeah.
He's like, and them poor,
Is it 2 separate nights, or is it just later the same night?
I thought it was 2 separate nights. It might be later the same night, but because he still has to go to the church.
He has to go to the church.
So there was I think that's all happening when he discovers they're there, and he's doing the dancing, and he's doing all that stuff, trying to distract them. And then the main night is the big night with all the stunts.
The big night, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a lot to set up. And right before the big night is the church, going to church and talking to the old man and telling him to call his son. Call him. It's like, how old are you? It's like, what? So and then poor Catherine O'Hara is going crazy trying to get back to him. Insane.
Where is she at? She's in
they were in Paris, and then she had to fly back, and I think they got back to because they were going to New York or Chicago. They were in
they live in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Did they go to Florida? No, that's
no.
That's the second
Florida.
one.
It may be in New York. They get to New York.
Because New York is the second one.
Right, but what I'm saying is her airport may be at New York, and she's trying to figure out a way to get Chicago.
Right.
And then that's when we find.
Or was it Hawaii? It doesn't matter. So she's in the airport. All the flights are shut down because of a snowstorm. Mm-hmm. Nothing can get through until after Christmas. She is going nuts in the airport, saying, you have to get me back. My son is in trouble. Mm-hmm. And they called the authorities to check on the kid, and the authorities have driven by and be like, oh, nobody's home.
Right.
So they're like, yeah, no, the kid's not here. I don't know why this is a conversation. Which again is the 90s, because
So we've got John Candy shows up as the Polka King.
Polka King, like, all improv.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
all improvised.
And he's like, we can drop you.
Yeah.
And so she gets a ride with the Polka King. Starts coming up with these polka names. Never heard of them? No, all right. It's all right. It's all right.
No,
it's okay.
You don't know polka. 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 No. Okay. Yeah, no, it's fine.
So gets her home. We've had this, the stunts galore, and we get the moment of Kevin waking up, coming down the stairs. Catherine Harris looking in, trying to find him, and she sees him on top of the stairs. And you see that look, and this is what made him a really good actor. You start thinking he's still pissed.
Right.
They're not there, anything. And then you have that moment. They come together. It's
and she's going like thinking, I'm so sorry. She's thinking that she has all of this to apologize. And all that it is just absolute gratefulness for the two of them, that
relief.
Mother and son get to reunite.
And then the whole crew shows up, and they found a way to get there. So now you've got the whole family there for Christmas. Even Buzz, and then Buzz gives him a little shout out, respect, for surviving.
Yeah.
And in the background, You see the neighbor's son showing up at his house. And you're
Yep.
like,
And seeing his granddaughter,
yeah. And
which
he's
he
like,
hadn't
oh my
done
God.
for however long.
Yeah. You're like,
And
holy cow.
what I think is so important about this movie, and why this movie is one of the quintessential Christmas movies, is that every part in the movie ties into what Christmas is about, right? It
Yes.
ties into family, it ties into tradition, it ties into like holiday spirit. And they don't just do that by like having a tree and playing songs, but everything in the movie is either red or green.
Yeah.
Everything. The
It's,
entire house is gaudy any other
Mhm.
time of year,
Yeah.
but is red or green.
Well, it's because John Candy purposely, and the writer and everything purposely wrote this as a Christmas movie. Like, this
Right.
is, and here's what we need. We need to do
Yeah.
this. Um, and we have our happy ending. Buzz gives him that little, it's really cool, dude. And then he
Yeah.
goes to his room. What did you do to my room?
Yeah.
And then we're done. But this is a phenomenal movie. And how well do you know this movie, Mr. Frank? Because you got 10 trivia questions coming up right now.
We're about to find out. I actually haven't watched this movie in I think 2 years, because
Mm.
if it's not streaming, I can't get it.
Well, it's streaming on Prime right now. So you could have,
Oh, is it? I looked it up. It was not.
yeah, it was. It's right there.
Oh, well, I gotta look again.
So the first five are usually pretty easy,
Cool.
and then it starts to get difficult. So
Anytime I get one wrong, I'll drink. And if I get one right, then I'll drink a little.
we've only had one person get all 10. I do 10 and then a bonus question. So here we go. Question number one. What year did the film come out?
1990.
Boom. Who directed it?
Christopher Columbus.
Boom. So we're 2 for 2. Who plays the two robbers?
Daniel. What's Daniel's last name? I mean, Joe Pesci.
Mm-hmm.
And then Daniel. Oh, I almost cheated. I was like, well, my phone.
Don't you be cheating.
No, I'm not gonna cheat. I'm gonna put my phone away. I don't know Daniel's last name, but he's also in City Slickers.
Yes, he is very good. I love him in that movie too. I'll give you credit for it. It's Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern.
What is their weapon of choice?
Crowbars.
Crowbars. Boom. Where was the family going on vacation?
Oh, see, that's what I guess we said Paris.
That's it. They're going to Paris. This is something I gave you too, and I stopped myself in the middle of it. What is the famous line that the gangster says in the movie? In the movie within a movie.
Oh, keep the change, you filthy animal.
Boom. We're 6 for 6. Here's where they start to get a little tougher. You got to be paying attention. What time were they supposed to leave for Paris?
I'm gonna say 8 a.m.
Boom, right there. Uncle Frank kept saying that. It's like, we're leaving at 8. Who is the old man that Kevin is scared of? What is his name?
That I don't know. So I will call him Roger.
I'm going to give you a hint. It is Old Man Blah. They say Old Man Blah is his.
Oh, Old Man Stevens. I don't know this one.
Old Man Marley.
Marley. All right.
Technically, what is the first booby trap? Not the first stunt, the first booby trap.
Okay. Booby trap once they're in the house?
Nope, right in the movie, the very first thing that gets the robbers. What is the very first thing?
I would say the very first thing then has to be the BB gun.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Before
Nice.
they do Home Alone. Got it.
Nice. So you've missed one. This one's a tough one. Number 10.
Okay.
How much was the pizza in the beginning? What was the total? And I'll give you within $5.
I'm gonna say $50.
Ooh, so close. $122.50.
$122.50. No wonder Uncle Frank was like, somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else got this one. And
Yeah.
then the bonus question is, where does the pizza come from? He orders it on his own and there. What's the name of the pizza place?
Oh, I thought Pizza Hut because I thought it was a. I'm gonna say Pizza Hut because I thought it was whatchamacallit.
Product placement.
Yeah.
It was Little Nero's Pizza.
Uh,
So close. So
all right.
close.
Well,
Frank, you did great. You did great, man. Thank you so much for coming on board.
thank you for having me. This was just a blast.
This was
Catching up
great,
talking about
man.
movies. This is the best way to spend the night.
And drinking some crushed up cucumber and gin.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Tell everybody where they can find you. Anything coming up that you want people to know about?
I mean, check out my. You can check out my IMDb page. My name is Frank Alfano, Alfano Jr. And then anybody out there who's interested in learning how to perform on fire, I teach fire workshops up here in the New York area. You can go to www.northeastfirestunts.com.
Boom.
Those are my
Perfect.
2 plugs for myself. Appreciate it.
Perfect. That's awesome, man. And for those of you listening, don't forget to, if you're listening to this on iTunes, go to YouTube. You can actually see it. We edit it down, or we don't edit it down, but we do, we edit the pictures and stuff. So sometimes it's just Frank and sometimes it's both of us. You can go to YouTube, Real Drinks with Ale Flores. And if you're watching on YouTube, go to iTunes, Spotify, anywhere that you get podcasts, Real Drinks with Ale Flores. Subscribe, rate us, review it. And then you can find me, comedic actor on Instagram, comedic actor Ali on Twitter, although I really don't do Twitter that much. I have been doing a lot on TikTok now. So if you like sick and wrong jokes, some funny stuff, I do that on TikTok. You can find me, Ali Flores on TikTok. So thank you again, Frank, for being here. I've had a blast. I hope you did too.
My pleasure. Oh my gosh, this was great. This is literally the best way I could have spent tonight.
Awesome, man. Happy holidays, everyone. See you.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Yes.